Austin delays an important conversation about religion with Becca. Could there be trouble ahead for these two?
They just might be.
Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about Lifetime Network's reality based TV series, Married at First Sight, season number 17, episode number 7.
But before we get into it, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And thank you for your comments. So here we go. Becca and Austin. Both of them seem to be doing well on their honeymoon. They're kissy feely and what have you, but it seemed like they're not having any major upsets or having any really in depth conversation. I think Austin seems like he's an avoider and wants to wait until they get home.
I don't think Austin is necessarily an avoider. I just think that there's a point in time where they have to have important and maybe hard conversations with each other about some topics that they may not be on the same page about. And I think that because they're in a nice little rhythm right now, they don't want to do that on their honeymoon and mess up the vibe that they have going on. Maybe at a time where they get back and kind of get situated once they move in together and begin to experience the realities of being married away from this ideal honeymoon situation, then maybe that's the time to do
Well,
it.
they were together, and she asked him if he wanted to talk about religion because that's on her mind. And he said no, he didn't want to have that conversation now. And it reminded her of a past trauma. She said in the past, other boyfriends that she dated would avoid having certain conversations with her. And she said she felt rejected. But I don't think that was what Austin was trying to do. He just didn't want to have a conversation with her.
Not only that too, but he's not a boyfriend; he's her husband.
He said that he was raised Christian, and she said she was raised Jewish, but right through here she's an agnostic. And as far as I know, an agnostic believes that there is no real evidence that there is a God. So I'm not sure how they're gonna reconcile that. She said that people are always trying to convince her that there is a God. She's not too convinced.
If I had the opportunity, well, if there's no evidence of God being who he is, then how do you explain the sun? How do you explain planet Earth? How do you explain a few other things?
Well, I guess she has gone through this with her friends or whatever, and she thought that thing through, and she believes that there's no evidence of God. So we just gonna meet the sister where she is and keep it moving.
I can definitely meet her where she is, but I ain't got to agree with where she is.
Right, of course not. They started talking about what it's gonna feel like moving in because they're on their final day at the resort. She asked whether he was getting nervous or not. He said he was because he clowned her a little bit because she's a little untidy. Her stuff was all over the suite they were staying in, and he said something about he hoped that's not what she's gonna do when they get to the
Yeah,
house.
translation. Hope she's not slobbing when they get back to their new shared living space.
That ain't gonna be good. It could be a preview of what's to come.
I hope not, because that could turn the brother off real quick,
And
especially if he's not a slob.
she said that they have a learning curve in front of them, which they obviously do. All of them do. But she is gonna try to always be there for him. And he said ditto. So I guess that means he's gonna be there for her as well.
I just don't know, uh, offhand how they're going to navigate the new changes that are awaiting them when they get back. I think it's going to be a lot, and I think it's going to be, something that uh, kind of complicates their relationship.
Yeah, it absolutely will because they don't know what they don't know.
They're about to find out.
They already have the health situation going on, and then they're two different people, 6 days married, trying to now merge their lives. You really have a husband stranger in the house with you. You may have your quiet time, and he trying to interrupt that flow. You may like certain things and he don't. There's a lot of things to know about a person before you get settled. So I hope they understand what's ahead of them, that they are courageous enough to overcome any obstacles they may face, and just continue to enjoy each other.
Right now, they're on a good vibe. We'll see how that vibe changes once they get back to the real world.
So you saying it's gonna change?
I don't know whether or not it's going to change. I would think that it would have to, at least to some degree.
Absolutely.
To what degree, I don't know. They seem, like I said, to be in a good place, good space with one another, but that can all change very quickly and very unexpectedly.
Well, I'm not gonna say keep hope alive because the sister doesn't believe God, so that's a useless statement. But I'm gonna say for them that they keep hope alive.
I would just like for her to answer maybe one of the questions I posed about uh, whether or not there's the existence of God.
No, I'm sure she had that question up one way and down the other, and
Yeah, but it's not the
she
question.
has resolved it in herself, and that's where she is right now. We're not here to try to convince anyone
And
that
no,
there's an existence of God.
you're right.
We want you
No matter what I believe is overwhelming evidence that there is a God.
right. We got to meet them where they are.
I understand that, but I just want to pose a very simple question. That's all.
But in the word they talk about there's some whom you meet and they're water. There's some who you meet who may give you some nourishment. And then finally, someone will say something to you that the influence and presence of God will be so overwhelming that they're going to ask you the reason for your hope. So perhaps because she has been boxing with God for a number of years, perhaps that struggle may come to an end. But
There was a play many years ago I never got a chance to see, but it was heavily advertised in the DC area. It's called "Your Arms Too Short to Box with God."
yes, it is.
Maybe she ought to see that one.
Yeah. Well, she has a lot of joy, so we know that God is in this. So she's having some hard conversations with him, and she doesn't even know it. She met a man that she believes that she could have a life with, children with.
One that
I,
will accept her for her health issues and
right,
all that
right.
is a
You
blessing.
see, all those things didn't come by happenstance.
Yeah, but that's not something that sounds like she's too convinced of.
Well, she's not convinced, and it is what it is. But I hope that this journey, this life that she has, she will encounter those who can water, those who can nourish her, and those who could tell her the reason why they have a hope that, that is in God.
You know what?
So that's all we have.
You know what? God has an interesting way of getting the attention of those who don't believe He
Absolutely.
exists.
Question about
Interesting way of doing it,
question
and it's
about
one that's undeniable.
I didn't have no problem with that. He know how to do his thing. He know how to work it out. He know
Always.
how to he know how to give us a road to Damascus experience.
Well,
It could be today, it could be tomorrow,
might be down the road.
but conversations are going on in her heart and in her spirit. We wish her well.
I do. I'm not hating on Becca. I just want her to explain that to me.
I just think it's amazing how God does his thing. I I I'm I'm just I'm just amazed and appreciative and thankful and grateful that I believe, that we believe that there is a God.
Come on with the truth. Ain't nobody mad if they ever, huh?
So we thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next bit.
See y'all.
Bye bye.
Believers, true believers,
Like that.
like that.